My fingers brushed against something plastic in Daniel's suit jacket. A receipt, probably. Another expense he'd forgotten to submit from his Chicago trip. I pulled it out, ready to add it to the stack on his desk, when I realized it wasn't a receipt at all. A hotel key card. White plastic with blue waves and gold lettering, the Lakeside Resort and Spa. I stood there, laundry basket propped against my hip, staring at it. Daniel had stayed at the Marriott downtown. He'd texted me photos from his room, 23rd floor, view of the river. He'd complained about the pillows being too soft. He'd sent me a picture of himself at the Marriott's bar with his colleagues after their presentation. The Lakeside Resort wasn't in Chicago. It was 40 minutes from our house. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Daniel just landed. Be home in about an hour. Miss you. The laundry basket slipped from my grasp, clean clothes spilling across the bedroom floor. You're quiet tonight, Daniel said, pouring himself a second glass of wine. Everything okay? I watched him across our dining table. His face was the same one I'd woken up to for 8 years. Kind eyes, slight crow's feet at the corners, the small scar on his chin from a childhood bike accident. So familiar, yet suddenly strange. Maia, you there? He smiled, the one that always made the dimple in his right cheek appear. Just tired. I pushed my salmon around the plate. How was Chicago? Good. The client loved our pitch. He took a sip of wine. Though I could have done without Jensen's PowerPoint animations. The man stuck in 2005. He launched into a story about his co-workers' presentation disasters, and I nodded at the right moments, laughed when expected. All while the hotel keycard burned in my pocket like a hot coal. You sure you're okay? He asked, reaching across the table for my hand. I pulled back instinctively. I found something today. His expression didn't change. Oh? I placed the keycard on the table between us. For 3 seconds, I counted. Nothing registered on his face. Then a flash of recognition, quickly masked. Oh, that. From the Lakeside. They gave us rooms there for that team-building workshop last month, remember? Must have forgotten it in my pocket. The workshop had been 6 weeks ago. He'd worn that suit twice since then. Strange, I said, my voice unnaturally calm, because it doesn't look like the cards from that workshop. I pulled out my phone, showing him the photo I'd found online. See? Those had the resort logo in green. This one's blue. And it's their new design, according to their website. Introduced 2 weeks ago, Daniel's face went perfectly still. The kind of stillness that comes before something breaks. Maia, don't. I stood up, my chair scraping against the hardwood. I have to get some air. I grabbed my keys and walked out, leaving him calling my name behind me. Daniel and I met in graduate school. I was studying art history. He was in business. We were both shelving books in the university library, student jobs that paid barely enough for ramen and coffee. He asked me out by slipping a note into a book on Renaissance painters that I'd been eyeing. Coffee sometime? I promise not to talk about quarterly projections. Daniel, business section, usually hiding in HF 5387. I found him exactly where his note said he'd be, surrounded by ethics and business texts. Our first date lasted 6 hours. By our third, I knew I was falling in love. By the end of the semester, we were inseparable. After graduation, we moved to the city together. I landed a position at the museum. He joined a marketing firm. We rented a tiny one-bedroom apartment where the shower leaked and the neighbors fought at 2 a.m. But it was ours. 2 years later, he proposed on the museum rooftop after hours, with the city lights spread out below us like scattered stars. 1 year after that, we bought our house in the suburbs, a fixer-upper with good bones according to the realtor. We spent weekends painting walls and replacing cabinet handles, building our life together room by room. We're so lucky, Daniel would say, wrapping his arms around me from behind as we stood in our gradually improving kitchen. Some people search their whole lives for this. I believed him. I believed in us. But lately, things had shifted. Subtle changes, like shadows lengthening as the sun moved. More late nights at the office. Less conversation over dinner. His touch when it came felt perfunctory. I'd told myself it was just the pressure of his recent promotion. The new responsibilities, the travel. Now, sitting in my car outside our neighborhood coffee shop, I wondered how long I'd been lying to myself. He's been different, I admitted to Layla over lattes the next morning. My oldest friend raised an eyebrow but said nothing, letting me continue. Working late, distracted when he's home. But I never thought, have you asked him directly? Layla stirred her drink, voice gentle but eyes sharp. About the key card? He gave me some bullshit about it being from a work retreat 6 weeks ago. But I checked. It's their new design. Layla set down her spoon. What are you going to do? I don't know. I stared out the window at people hurrying through their Saturday morning routines. Part of me wants to pretend I never found it. Go back to yesterday morning when everything was normal. Was it, though? Normal? The question hung between us. Had things been normal, or had I just become accustomed to a new, diminished version of our marriage? I need to know the truth, I said finally. Whatever it is, Layla nodded. Then you know what you have to do. I called in sick to the museum on Monday. After Daniel left for work, I sat at our desktop computer staring at the browser. This felt like crossing a line, invading his privacy in a way we'd never done before. But he'd already crossed a line, hadn't he? I logged into his email. Nothing suspicious. His browser history was equally mundane. Work websites, sports scores, Amazon searches for birthday gifts. Mine, I realized with a twist in my stomach. My birthday was next month. Then I checked his credit card statement. There it was. The Lakeside Resort and Spa. 3 separate charges over the past 2 months. The most recent was Thursday night, when he was supposedly in Chicago. Below that, a charge from Elysian Jewelers. From 3 weeks ago, jewelry, hotel rooms. The pieces were fitting together into a picture I didn't want to see. I printed the statement, hands trembling. Then, acting on instinct, I grabbed my keys and drove to the Lakeside Resort. The resort lobby was all understated elegance. Leather sofas, stone fireplace, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the actual lakeside. I approached the reception desk, heart hammering. "Good morning," said the young woman behind the counter. Her name tag read Bethany. "Do you have a reservation with us?" "No," I said, voice steadier than I felt. "I'm actually here because my husband stayed here recently for business, and he left his glasses in the room." "Daniel Winters?" Bethany tapped at her computer. "Let me check. Yes, Mr. Winters was here Thursday night. Room 317. Was he alone?" The question slipped out before I could stop it. Bethany looked up, her professional smile faltering slightly. "I'm sorry, but we don't—" "Of course," I interrupted. "Privacy policy. I understand." I forced a smile. "Could I possibly leave a note for the woman he was meeting? She's a business associate, and he needs some information from her for a presentation." A flicker of something, pity, crossed Bethany's face. "I think you might be mistaken. Mr. Winters was here with another gentleman. They're regular guests, usually stay in adjoining rooms." I blinked. "Another man?" "Yes, Mr. Jensen, I believe. Jensen. Daniel's colleague. The one with the terrible PowerPoint animations." "Oh," I said faintly. "Of course. Thank you." I walked out to my car in a daze, the ground shifting beneath my feet. I spent the drive home trying to make sense of what I'd learned. Daniel and Jensen, at a romantic lakeside resort, while supposedly in Chicago on business. What exactly was happening? An affair seemed the obvious answer, but with Jensen? Daniel had never shown any indication he might be attracted to men, and he complained about Jensen constantly. His meticulous attention to detail, his terrible jokes, his obsession with process, unless those complaints were a cover. A way to mention Jensen without raising suspicions. My phone rang. "Daniel." "Hey," I answered, trying to sound normal. "What's up?" "Just checking in," he said. "You feeling any better?" "You seemed off this morning." The concern in his voice sounded genuine. Had I imagined all of this? "Actually," I said, making a sudden decision, "I'm feeling much better. Good enough to meet you for lunch." "Are you free?" A pause. "I have meetings all afternoon. Even through lunch?" Another pause, longer this time. "Jensen and I are finalizing the Brookfield proposal. Can't really step away." "Jensen again?" "No problem," I said lightly. I'll see you at home tonight. After we hung up, I changed direction. Instead of going home, I drove to Daniel's office building downtown. The security guard knew me from previous visits and waved me through with a smile. In the elevator, I smoothed my hair and straightened my jacket, trying to look like someone making a surprise lunch visit to her husband, not a woman unraveling at the seams. Daniel's assistant looked up in surprise as I approached. "Mrs. Winters, Daniel didn't mention you were coming by." "Surprise visit?" I said with a bright smile. "Is he in?" "Oh, he and Mr. Jensen left about an hour ago. Client lunch meeting at Osteria, an Italian place only 2 blocks away." I thanked her and left, walking briskly toward the restaurant. Through Osteria's front window, I scanned the busy dining room. No sign of Daniel or anyone who could be Jensen. I was about to leave when I spotted them, tucked away in a corner booth. Daniel's back was to me, but I could see Jensen clearly. Tall, thin, meticulously dressed. Early 40s like us. They were hunched toward each other, talking intently. As I watched, Jensen reached across the table and briefly touched Daniel's hand. The gesture was small, but unmistakably intimate. I stumbled back from the window, bumping into a passerby who muttered an annoyed, "Watch it." I mumbled an apology and hurried away, not stopping until I was back in my car. The puzzle pieces were rearranging themselves again, forming a new picture. Daniel and Jensen weren't just colleagues. They were something else, something that required lies and secret hotel stays, something that had nothing to do with business trips to Chicago. My phone buzzed with a text. "Daniel, working late tonight. Don't wait up for dinner. Love you, more lies." I started the car, a new determination forming. Tonight I would get answers. I waited in the dark living room, perched on the edge of our sofa. The printed credit card statement lay on the coffee table beside the hotel key card. At 11:37 p.m., I heard his key in the lock. The hallway light spilled in as the front door opened. "Maia?" Daniel called out. "You still up?" I reached over and switched on the lamp. "Yes." He jumped slightly, then composed himself. "Hey, why are you sitting in the dark?" "Thinking. About?" He set down his briefcase and shrugged off his jacket. "About why you lied about working late. About why you lied about Chicago." My voice remained calm, detached. "About why you and Jensen were at the Lakeside Resort last Thursday when you told me you were giving a presentation at the Marriott downtown." The color drained from his face. "How does it matter?" "I know, Daniel. I know about the hotel. I know about the jewelry store. I saw you and Jensen at Osteria today." He sank into the armchair across from me, deflating like a punctured balloon. "It's not what you think. Then what is it?" The anger I'd been holding at bay surged forward. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've been having an affair with your coworker and lying to my face about it for months." "I'm not having an affair with Jensen." "Then explain the hotel. Explain why you were touching each other's hands at lunch. Explain the charges from Elysian Jewelers." Daniel looked down at his hands. "Jensen and I are working on something. A startup. We're leaving Apex to launch our own firm." Of all the answers I'd expected, this wasn't one of them. "What?" "We've been planning it for months. Meeting with potential investors, developing our business plan. The hotel. We meet there because it's discreet. No one from Apex goes there. We can't risk anyone finding out before we're ready to make our move. Why couldn't you tell me?" He looked up, his expression pained. "Because you work at the museum. The Hargrove Museum. Whose board chairman is Philip Caldwell? What does Philip have to do with anything?" "Philip Caldwell is Apex's biggest client. The one who just renewed his contract based largely on my team's work. If he found out I was leaving to start a competing firm, taking his account manager with me..." The implications sank in. Philip could very well have Daniel blackballed in the industry. And Philip was notoriously close with the museum director. My boss. "You thought I'd tell Philip?" The hurt in my voice was unmistakable. "No." Daniel moved to the sofa, sitting beside me. "But I couldn't put you in that position. If anyone found out and questioned you, you'd either have to lie or betray me. I wanted to protect you." "And the jewelry store charge?" A small smile appeared. "Your birthday present. I was going to give it to you next month, but..." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small blue box. Maybe now is better. I didn't take it. So all those late nights, the distraction, the Chicago trip that wasn't really in Chicago, planning meetings, investor pitches. Jensen and I flew to New York last week to meet with a venture capital firm. We did stop in Chicago on the way back. That's where I took those photos I sent you. We were only there for 5 hours between flights. It made sense. Too much sense. Relief began to seep in, but something still bothered me. Why didn't you trust me enough to tell me? 8 years together, and you kept this huge part of your life secret for months. The hurt resurged, sharp and insistent. Do you know what I've been imagining? What I thought was happening? Daniel's face fell. I was trying to protect you. By letting me think our marriage was falling apart? By making me doubt everything we've built? I stood up, needing distance. That's not protection, Daniel. That's control. You decided what I could and couldn't handle without giving me any choice in the matter. Maia, I need some time to think. I grabbed my purse. I'm going to Layla's for the night. Please don't go, he said, standing. We should talk about this. We will. But not tonight. As I reached the door, he called after me. I love you. That's never been a lie. I paused, hand on the doorknob. I know. That's why this hurts so much. Layla listened without interrupting as I explained everything. When I finished, she handed me a glass of wine. So he's not having an affair. He's starting a business, apparently. And he kept it from you to protect you. I sipped the wine. That's his story. Do you believe him? I considered the question. Yes, it fits with everything I found. And Daniel's not a good enough liar to invent something that detailed on the spot. Then what's the problem? I set down my glass. The problem is that he didn't trust me. He made unilateral decisions about our life together. He's planning to leave his stable job for a risky startup, and he didn't think I deserved to know until it was a done deal. Layla nodded slowly. Fair point. What if their business fails? What if we lose the house? These aren't just his decisions to make. No, they're not. Layla refilled our glasses. But is that what you're really angry about? I shot her a look. What do you mean? I mean, yes, he should have told you. But you spent the last few days convinced he was cheating on you. Aren't you relieved? Of course I am. Then why are you here instead of at home working this out with him? I stared into my wine, watching the liquid catch the light. Because I'm scared. Of what? That this is just the beginning. That there will be more secrets, more decisions he makes without me. That one day I'll wake up and realize I'm married to a stranger. Layla's expression softened. Or maybe this was a mistake. A big one, but still just a mistake. One you can move past if you both want to. Maybe, I conceded. But I need to figure out if I can trust him again. Fair enough. She raised her glass. To figuring things out. We clinked glasses, and I tried to ignore the hollow feeling in my chest. I returned home the next evening. Daniel was waiting, looking like he hadn't slept. The coffee table was covered with papers, business plans, financial projections, investor presentations. I want to show you everything, he said as I set down my overnight bag. No more secrets. For the next 2 hours, he walked me through his and Jensen's plans. Their vision for a boutique marketing firm specializing in arts and culture clients. The investors who'd already committed. The projected timeline, they planned to give notice at Apex in 6 weeks after securing their final round of funding. It's a risk, he admitted. But we've run the numbers every way possible. Even in the worst-case scenario, we'd still make enough to cover our mortgage. I studied the financial projections. They were thorough, conservative even. You've really thought this through. We have. He hesitated, then added, But I should have included you from the beginning. I was wrong to keep you in the dark. I looked up at him. Yes, you were. Can you forgive me? The question hung between us, heavy with implications. Could I? Should I? I don't know yet, I said honestly. I understand why you did it, but understanding isn't the same as forgetting. You broke something between us, Daniel? Trust doesn't mend overnight, he nodded, accepting this. What can I do? Give me time. And no more secrets, not even ones you think are protecting me. I promise. He reached for my hand tentatively. After a moment's hesitation, I let him take it. Can I ask you something? What? Do you think it's a good idea? The business. I considered the plan spread before us. Actually, I do. You've always been brilliant at what you do. And targeting arts clients is smart. It's an underserved market with lots of potential. A cautious smile appeared. So you support it? I support you doing what makes you happy. I just want to be part of the conversation. You will be. From now on, you will be. I nodded, then stood. I'm tired. It's been a long few days. Of course. He rose too, uncertain. Should I take the guest room? I thought about it. No. Come to bed when you're ready. That night, we lay side by side, not touching but together. A first tentative step toward rebuilding. Over the next few weeks, Daniel kept his word. He included me in every development with the new business. Some evenings, Jensen would come over, and the three of us would discuss strategies over dinner. I found I actually liked him once I got to know him. His attention to detail balanced Daniel's big-picture thinking perfectly. We still need a name, Jensen said one night as we cleared the dinner dishes. Something that reflects who we are but isn't too artsy-fartsy. How about Keystone? I suggested. It's the central piece that holds an arch together. Since you're connecting businesses with their audiences, Daniel and Jensen exchanged looks. Keystone Marketing. Daniel tested the name. I like it. It's perfect, Jensen agreed. See? This is why we need her input. I smiled, feeling included in a way I hadn't before. Later, as Daniel and I got ready for bed, he wrapped his arms around me from behind, meeting my eyes in the bathroom mirror. Thank you, he said. For what? For giving me another chance. For not walking away when you had every right to. I turned in his arms to face him. We still have work to do, but we're getting there. He nodded, then kissed me softly. I have something to show you tomorrow. A surprise, I raised an eyebrow. What happened to No More Secrets? Good surprises are allowed, he countered with a smile. You'll like this one, I promise. The next evening, Daniel drove us to the lakeside resort. My stomach tightened as we pulled into the parking lot, memories of my last visit surfacing. Why are we here? You'll see. He led me through the lobby, past the reception desk where Bethany, or another young woman indistinguishable from her, gave us a professional smile. We took the elevator to the third floor. Room 317, the same room he'd shared with Jensen. Daniel unlocked the door and gestured for me to enter first. I stepped inside, not sure what to expect. The room had been transformed. Dozens of tiny string lights draped across the ceiling, casting a warm glow. A table was set for two by the window, overlooking the lake where the setting sun painted the water gold and crimson. What is this? I asked, turning to him. This is me, trying to replace a bad memory with a good one. He took my hands. This room was never about betrayal. It was about building a future, our future. But I went about it all wrong. He led me to the table and pulled out my chair. As we sat, a server appeared, apparently arranged beforehand, and poured 2 glasses of champagne. The night I planned to tell you everything was your birthday, Daniel continued after the server departed. I was going to bring you here, explain about the business, and give you this. He pulled out the small blue box I'd seen before. You don't have to, I began. I want to. He opened the box. Inside wasn't jewelry but a key. A real key, not a key card. It's symbolic. A key to our new chapter, if you want it. I took the key, turning it over in my palm. What does this new chapter look like? Honest, collaborative, equal. He took a deep breath. I've been thinking about what you said, about making unilateral decisions. You were right. So I've added your name to the business registration forms. If you want it, Keystone will be our company, not just mine and Jensen's. You'd handle the museum and arts clients. Your expertise would be invaluable. I stared at him, caught off guard. You want me to leave the museum? To join your company? Only if you want to. It's an open door, not an expectation. I considered it. I loved my job at the museum, but I'd hit a ceiling there. No room for advancement unless someone retired or left, which seemed unlikely anytime soon. "I'll think about it," I said finally. "That's all I'm asking." He raised his glass. "To no more secrets." I clinked my glass against his. "To new beginnings." As we sipped our champagne, I felt something shift between us. The first real easing of tension since finding the keycard. We weren't fixed, not completely. Trust once broken mends slowly. But we were moving forward together, and for now, that was enough. The key felt solid and real in my hand. Not a symbol of deception, but of possibility. "Yes," I said suddenly. "Yes what?" "Yes to Keystone. Yes to being partners in this, too." His face lit up, that familiar dimple appearing. "Really?" "Really?" I reached across the table for his hand. "But one condition. Name it. No more hotel rooms without me." He laughed, the sound warm and genuine. "Deal." Outside the window, the last light of day faded from the lake, stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Inside, we began to rebuild what had been broken, one honest conversation at a time. 1 year later, "Are you nervous?" Jensen asked, straightening Daniel's tie as we waited in the anteroom. "Terrified," Daniel admitted. "What if they hate it?" "They won't hate it," I assured him, checking my own reflection one last time. "The campaign is brilliant. Today was Keystone Marketing's first major pitch, to the National Gallery no less. After a year of building our client base with smaller museums and galleries, this was our chance at the big leagues. Philip Caldwell had been furious when Daniel and Jensen left Apex as expected. He'd tried to blackball them in the industry, also as expected. What none of us had anticipated was how quickly other arts organizations would flock to us, eager for marketing that actually understood their world. We'd moved out of our home office into real workspace downtown 3 months ago. Hired 2 junior associates last month. And now, potentially, our biggest client yet. "Mrs. Winters?" An assistant appeared at the door. "They're ready for you now." The 3 of us exchanged looks. A year of partnership distilled into a single glance of mutual support and determination. "Let's do this," Daniel said, as we walked into the boardroom. I felt a surge of gratitude for that hotel keycard I'd found in his jacket pocket. The discovery that had nearly torn us apart had ultimately led us here, stronger, more honest, truly partners in every sense. Sometimes betrayal isn't what it seems. Sometimes the key to happiness is hidden in the darkest moments. And sometimes, if you're brave enough to face the truth, what you find on the other side is better than anything you could have imagined. Daniel squeezed my hand as we took our places at the presentation table. I squeezed back. No more secrets. No more lies. Just us building something together, one honest day at a time.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.